Okay. So why don't we just start? You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Brennan Gertz. I currently serve as the student senator at Florida State University in the College of Arts and Sciences, seat 4. I've served in that role for the past 2 years. In that time, I've been a member of both the Judiciary and Finance committees. I've served as the chair of the ad hoc on apportionments, as well as the chair of the Pride Caucus in the Student Senate. I've also been involved in political parties on campus. My undergraduate major was in political science and German linguistics. I'm currently a master's student in German. So I've been at FSU since 2017. I remember the old union.
How did you first get involved in the Senate?
Yeah, so I actually got involved in the Senate in a really kind of quaint way. I was in a research-intensive program for political science, and my friend named Annabelle, I believe Edwards was her name. She was a part of a new party on campus called the Amplify Movement, and she knew, no, it was Anna Grace, that's what it was, Anna Grace, and she knew that they needed another person to fill an arts and sciences spot, and I had just changed my major to German. So, I took the spot, and really, I'm only in Senate because she needed to fill a spot, was the thing. And so, I'm really grateful for that, because that was just an opportunity that I didn't know was happening.
So what would you say is one of the most significant events that involved you since joining Senate?
I think, bar none, the most significant sort of theme throughout my Senate career has been a focus on LGBTQ plus issues and queer issues at campus. But I think what's really important is that there's a specific event involving the student Senate president. His name was Jack Denton. He had served as the student Senate president for the 72nd Student Senate, elected last fall, not the fall of 2020, but the fall of 2020. And fall 2019. But what happened was, and it's a lot. This brings up a lot of emotions. Basically, he had called queer people and trans people evil. He'd been very anti-Black Lives Matter. He was very anti the right to choose, and the whole thing was just so toxic, and it came out in group chats and messages and things, and they got to me. And so I decided to share them with the Pride Caucus because I thought it was my job. He ended up getting removed from that position, and we're getting close to a year later now, only a few months away, and still nothing has really been done for queer people. And so I think that really defined sort of my last term in Senate, because I'm not running for re-election.
So what was your first involvement in that event? How did you become aware of it, and then where did you go from there?
Yeah, so I got DM'd screenshots of him saying these terrible things, and I was told, don't share this with anybody, oh, we can't cause this fight. And I said, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to message the Pride Caucus. So I messaged them, and I was like, hey, I want you to know that I'm here, I support you, I'm here to protect you as much as I can. And they were like, well, what the hell is happening? They were like, why are you doing that? And so I shared it with them, and basically one of my longest term friends threatened to just completely leave SGA if nothing was done about it. And so even though, I was worried and I wasn't sure what was happening, I reached out to a friend, and I got her to make the motion of no confidence in him. And so I guess I really was kind of one of the people who started the whole thing.
And then how do you feel like that event sort of changed or shaped your role as a senator? Do you think it had any effect on you as a senator?
Well, the thing about him is I had spoken in favor of him becoming the student Senate president. And that was mostly because there was sort of a culture of you respected power, you respected who had influence. And he had been the vice chair of the political party I was a part of, and so, I had to, or else I was not going to be anything the next year. And so, at this moment, though, I saw sort of exactly how terrible everything was, and so, to some extent, it ended my Senate career. I don't put as much effort there anymore. It honestly made me feel very unsafe and untouched, and I couldn't go back because right after he got removed, people started blaming us for bringing it up, and people started making these ideas that we were at fault for everything that was going wrong. But I poured all of that energy and all of that pain and all of that difficulty into a new project, trying to get rid of that culture and trying to push back against that. And I don't know if the project's going to be successful, but it's good to fight back as much as I can, and that's all I can do for my last year.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of leads me to the next thing. Do you feel like there was any good that came out of what happened? Do you feel like we can find a silver lining in anything that was experienced?
I think the best thing that happened is that people no longer feel invincible, because people only do terrible things when they know they can get away with them. Smart people don't do terrible things if they can't get away with them. And so, even though it tore me up, it tore up my friend. She received death threats, and people went to her house in Jacksonville. It tore up everybody. You have to think that we may be feeling this way, but someone was going to. Someone was going to feel discriminated against in the future. Someone was going to be faced with another situation like this. And even though it hurts, and I've lost many friends, and people called me more worried about their political future than like the students who were hurting, I'm glad we were the ones to finally step up and say that we don't accept this. I'm proud to be that. I'm proud to have that pain. And even though a lot of people still criticize me, I'm proud.
As a leader on campus, how do you think we can work to move forward from this? How do you think that we can go forward from this as a collective, as a university, as a senate? What can we do?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is holding first accountability as at the core of our sort of values, because I think it's only when people think they can get away with it that they do this. And so being accountable, listening to what your friends say, even if they aren't in positions of power, because someone who's a bigot who has no power can very easily become a bigot with power, or can enable someone who has that power to be bigoted. And the truth of the matter is a lot of people just don't know what they say, what they do, and how that affects people. And I make that mistake a lot too. Like I say things that are inappropriate, and I get corrected on that, and I grow. But if you never correct people, they're never going to grow, and they become entrenched in what they believe. So I think that bringing accountability and bringing the idea that you should push back on people, even if they are your friends, to the forefront of SGA, I think, and to the forefront of this campus, I think, was the big silver lining of all this. And hopefully it means that no other group of students will have to go through what we did.
Do you think, or how do you think that this event could carry over beyond your college years? When you look back on this in 15, 20 years, what do you think would be your perspective on it?
So the Alliance Defending Freedom, which is a large conservative political group and group of lawyers, actually ended up suing and getting him reinstated. And they made a cartoon, actually, of a bunch of student senators, and right in the middle is, myself, my friend is a short Indian woman, and another one is he's kind of ginger, and they're in the middle of this video is someone with blonde hair sitting in the exact outfit I wore in my Senate photos. And I think in the future there will be people who dig that up and who see that, and I don't know how people will view me. I don't know if they'll take his side on the freedom of speech thing or not, but I think that this will serve as one of the defining moments of my early values as a person, and of my values as a young person. And I think it'll also carry on into the future, because I think it's hurt a lot of people, and they'll have to deal with that, but it's also inspired so many more people to get involved. And I think out of pain can come beauty, and hopefully as we continue to push forward, we can turn this pain into something beautiful, into something positive for FSU.
All right, so kind of as a final word, what would be your advice to senators in the future on how to handle situations like this? What do you do when something so unimaginable happens? You know, what would be your advice to the future of the Florida State Senate?
Yeah, I choked up actually remembering it, but I think talk to your communities and reach out to them, because the thing is that no one really cared that I was hurting or that other senators were hurting. The vote failed originally, but when students came and they shared their traumas and their stories, you know, you couldn't ignore them anymore. And so my advice to future senators in this situation is, if you feel like it doesn't matter, or you feel ignored, or you feel like, you know, they don't actually care about you, go find someone who does, because people do care, and they do care about this. And if you find enough of them, everybody has to care. So organize your communities around these issues, because at the end of the day, the student senate or any group of people is not going to decide your worth if you don't let them. And so organize as much as you can.
I love that. I'm going to give you a hug. That was so beautiful.